In 2015, Hope Presbyterian, a predominantly white church in Wheaton, Illinois, opened its doors to Bethel New Life, a predominantly black church near Chicago that was looking for a new home. After a decade sharing the same building, now they share the same pastor. Last year, the Reverend Dr. Ron Beauchamp of Bethel New Life began leading services for both churches, and also an effort to bridge divides of race and faith.
Hope Presbyterian was looking for a pastor for over a year and a half and couldn't find somebody. They wanted somebody who they felt they could talk to, that they could trust. Because I knew their names, I knew the people well. So when they would come in, I'd greet them, I'd shake their hands, hug them, smile. So they was like, let's give them a chance. My challenge now was, how do I work with this?
The Baptist music is more gospel-oriented. And the Presbyterians are always there with the book in front of their hand, and they say, you're the frozen chosen here.
The first time coming to their service, I was astonished. I always assumed that most churches either had a little bit of black people in there, they were a little mixed, but to come in everybody but me and pastor and my husband, it was a shocker for all of us. I would actually have to say that. A few of them were very welcoming. Some people really didn't like us. When I first started having my praise dance team here on Saturdays, it's in the morning, and before I can get out of my car, 2 police officers fly up. So they literally made me sit outside my car and wait for them to call. There was plenty of times I went and asked Pastor, like, why you got us out here?
People have been trained to think a certain way based upon what stereotype they learned from the news or from a television show. So my job is to introduce myself to you. And I told somebody, I said, no, you didn't like me at first. You didn't know me. They needed to have an experience where they can now look, talk, and share with the other person and say, what I thought isn't true.
The white community, the black community, may feel uneasy with one another. Stereotypes, experiences. Bethel people said they didn't know how they would be accepted when we worshiped together or did anything together. That probably was true on both sides.
Already sharing space, the churches began to do more together after the 2020 murder of George Floyd, as the country faced the challenges of racial reconciliation.
Having a joint Bible study group has really been something that's brought people closer together and a better understanding. It's not forced, it's not being done just because we think it should be done. I feel there's a lot of fellowship that we share now, real appreciation and love for one another.
It has brought us to a place where everybody can be themselves and be free.
They say the reason I didn't understand...
And you can love on each other. It has made a phenomenal turn in the last several years.
The ideal is how to lose in order to gain. What might I lose in order to gain? Relationship, friendship, kinship.
Despite everything shared between the two churches, they continue to worship separately on Sundays. Beauchamp preaches at both.
The choice is ours to decide how we will live our lives.
With Hope Presbyterian Church, I'm a little bit more, I would say, probably stoic in nature. I lecture probably more, and then I try to find a way to incorporate bringing them into it. Bethel New Life, as I said, they're a different kind of congregation. Not going to want to hear theologian conversation. What they want to know is what changed and what gave you some hope to get through this week. They're expecting high volumes of movement and encouragement. They don't handle well you're lecturing to them.
But certain members don't like call and response. Come on, Pastor. If you yell amen while the pastor is preaching, that disrupts their line of thought. So I think it's more cultural. We haven't had anybody leave the church over it. We've had people leave the church over other things.
I've never been at a service that was quiet, and then you get to our service and it's like an explosion. They say we're loud, and I say y'all not loud enough.
I believe that we're moving closer to a congregation of people who can at times worship together.
When we do World Communion, we kind of blend most of the service. So then we have a joint choir because everybody is together. We all are taking communion. We are all what God visualizes for this church.
So as time has gone on and as we've gotten to know each other better, we appreciate one another and appreciate the opportunity to be in this building together.
It's not we love you because we're in this building or we love you because of what you give us. We love you because that's what we're called to do. And if you're human in a loving way, that's what you're supposed to do.